So, hello guys, and we're finally live streaming for November's episode. I was gonna do a Halloween stream last week, but I was kind of sick. My voice didn't feel great, and so I kind of pushed it off. So, yeah, my Halloween costume this year is not as crazy as it's been in the past. I've been Darth Maul, had a face paint, the whole thing. I was the Witch King one year. Last year I was Rob. This year I'm just the Penguin. I'm more or less a mobster. For you guys that don't know who the Penguin is, DC villain. I don't have the monocle on because it's cheap Amazon and it just doesn't look good. So I'll show you guys the whole costume just so we start off the stream, with kind of getting the important stuff out of the way. Why am I dressed up? Why do I have a suit on? So if I can do this without dying, we got the yellow vest, purple tie, the suit, and then, hold on, the purple pants. So, yeah, went with kind of a classic comic book kind of look. And, yeah, so this is going to kind of serve as the Halloween special, but it's not exactly the Halloween special. I just kind of dressed up for you guys, just so you could see what it was. It's kind of hard to see with this camera angle since it's so much closer to my face than when I'm like sitting over here, for instance. But you guys just gonna have to figure it out. So yeah, for the stream, we're gonna talk a little bit about what we got on the plans for November as we head into the final parts of the year. I did make some changes to the schedule, especially the last week of October and then the first week of November. Made a little bit of changes because I wanted to save some stuff for next year. I'm going to talk a little bit about 25 Days of Winds of Winter Year 4, as we'll have that to end out the year again. Boy, I don't know if I'm going to do a Year 5, and if I do a Year 5, I'm not sure what I'm going to do it on because I really am starting to scrape the barrel in terms of characters that I haven't talked about in the event, or I'll have to come up with some other different idea, but yeah, bear with me on that. If you guys also have any Night of the Seven Kingdoms questions, because since the last monthly stream, so I had one where we looked at the trailer, and then I had a members only stream. If you guys do want to ask me some questions about that, feel free to do so. And so as we start this stream, I'm going to go through the content calendar, talk through some of the things that are going to be going on the channel, talk about some streams that are going to be happening this month, not only on my own channel, but on Ricky's channel as we do our Goblins of Old Town show. Actually, I'm not sure if we're doing a live stream or we're doing a video. So actually, I'm not sure on that, but I'll tell you at least what's coming up with me and Ricky on that side of things as well. So going through the content calendar, I didn't really plan this, but I do kind of have a section to start out November. So this week we had on the 2nd, last week on Sunday, we had the Roose Bolton Vampire Theory. Check that out if you have not. That was a fun video. Tomorrow we're going to be having the Kingswood Brotherhood. I've never talked about them on the channel before, so I enjoyed going through that. It's especially interesting to me that I didn't really cover it for my Robert's Rebellion series, given I think it is quite relevant, but not as relevant as a lot of the other major things happening. It kind of gets buried underneath things like Harrenhal happening around that same point, but talk about that in tomorrow's video. On the 7th, so on Friday, we will have the Did Jon Snow Die theory, talking about if he was glamored. It's almost a direct response to Order of the Green Hands video on the idea because, for the most part, they were the people that built the theory, from what I could tell. I tried to find other videos. There weren't that many, so I based it off of that. And then to finish out finishing out the week, we'll have the Horn of Winter, how it was found, looking more at the idea of why was the Horn of Winter, if the horn is the one that Sam has, why was it placed for the Night's Watch to find, and or specifically Jon, given that Ghost finds it, and it feels like Ghost was taken control of or led to find that so Jon could have it. Why would that be the case, given the fact that, from what we know of the Horn of Winter, it's to bring down the wall or to awake giants, maybe? It seems very unclear as to why the Horn of Winter would be given to Jon. Like, what would his purpose be with it? And so we're gonna go through that a little bit as well. Hi, Maz, how are you? How is everybody doing that's coming into the stream? Thank you for joining me. This was a very unannounced stream. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this stream on today, Thursday, or Saturday. But yeah, glad you're doing all right, Maz. Well, hopefully you get to get some sleep or whatnot. Yeah, JC, this is my penguin costume. It's not fully on because I have a monocle that goes with it, but it's not very good. But yeah, so this is my Halloween costume, more or less. It's really just me dressing up fancy and looking like a mobster. But yeah. Hi, Theory, how are you? But yeah, moving on with the content for November. And then, so basically this is hard for me because when I work, like the videos coming out this week, I haven't really touched in a while outside of Sunday's video that's going up next or this week, because I didn't really get to it until Monday. But like I'm kind of already on to the next kind of stuff. But we're going to have a little bit of Fire and Blood content. So November 12th, it'll be basically in the same vein of the Aenys video. So we're going to be continuing on as I go through Maegor's reign. I really wanted to talk about Maegor's reign again. He's one of my favorite characters in Fire and Blood. And so it was time to kind of talk about him. And there was an excuse because I've already done the Aenys video to just keep doing that series more or less. So we'll kind of continue with that into the next year. I expect to hopefully get through all the Targaryen kings in the coming year. And the 14th, so you guys will have a 2-day break, and then you basically get to revisit it because I'm going to be doing a Visenya Targaryen revisited character analysis. So very similar type of content between Visenya and Maegor, as they're very interlocked as characters. But excited to talk about Visenya. She's also one of my favorites. She's probably up there as one of my favorite female Targaryen characters, and just female characters in general. Her, Rhaena, the Queen of the West, and Rhaenyra are kind of like the big three for me of my favorite Targaryen women characters. And then the end, the week out, we'll have a kind of talking about like what do the Winds of Winter sample chapters tell us about Winds of Winter, like tonally or structurally, how George is going to write it. Should we be expecting more of like what we got with A Dance with Dragons, where George did not really hone in on forwarding the plot? It was a lot about world building. We had more travel chapters. Should we expect more of that? Should we expect that since George wants the book to, or the book series to finish in the next 2 books, is he going to go back to how the first 3 books were, where they were more plot driven? They were much more of a blend of all of the different things we love about George, whereas book 4 and book 5 were more of a focus on certain aspects of his writing. So that'll be coming out on the 16th. We're going to finally talk about on the 19th the Blackwood and Bracken conflict, the history and the conflicts between the 2 houses. I've kind of been hinting at that video I feel like for the last year. It's kind of been on the back burner. I've always just had other ideas that came up before doing that video. So we'll talk about that. Anybody else I need to respond to in chat before I continue? Halloween, it's November 4th. Yes, but I didn't get to do a Halloween stream. So you have 2 monocles on right now. That's fair. That's fair. Crazy Regret? Yes. Yes. I have some thoughts on the Horn of Winter. Sam has the horn, not Jon. He could use the dragon glass to slay an other. It could work like Dragonbinder is rumored to be influence/mind control. He also used the dragon glass to slay. If it could work like Dragon is rumored to influence mind control. That could be. That could be. The thing I wonder about is how do you get the Horn of Winter to work? Because we know Jon has already attempted to blow the horn, but no sound emits from it. So I wonder if the Horn of Winter takes some sort of like blood magic or sacrifice, especially given how much of a focus there is on the old gods and especially the North in terms of sacrificing. I'd be interested to see if that has anything to do with it. She's the best female Targaryen. I definitely think she's up there. I think she's definitely up there. Hi, Andrew. How are you? Interesting theory about the Dracula references. Yeah, so I'll say one thing about the Roose vampire video. I'm not that big into like vampires. I don't know much about Dracula. I haven't read Fever Dream from George. So I appreciate all the people that are more intelligent in that aspect and build, also building in their own thoughts into that, because for the most part, I just kind of went off the general ideas that I've heard about dragons, or not dragons, vampires. Continuing on to kind of end out the month of November and like the regular content, because like my December content is not really the regular content, it's an event content. So the last like true videos of the year for me, we're going to have the secret passages in the Red Keep and what their usage will be like in the Winds of Winter. So similar to how we've seen Varys utilize them for killing Kevin and Pycelle, will those play a further role in the story? I definitely believe that they will. I haven't fully even kind of figured out what my thoughts are going to be on for that video yet, since it's so far out. I haven't really scripted any of that yet. But just in terms of like, could that be used for Cersei to escape? Could that be used for assassinations to come in the series? What is that going to be used for? That's kind of what that video is going to be centered on. We're going to have on the 23rd, so that was the 21st on the secret passages in the Red Keep. The 23rd will be on House Peak and their fall from power. So we'll kind of go through everybody's favorite house in the Reach in terms of House Peak, in terms of some of the actions they take in both Fire and Blood, and some of the actions that they'd be in Fire and Blood Part 2, but we kind of learn throughout A Song of Ice and Fire and some of the lore about House Peak and how they've become not irrelevant, but they've definitely had a fall from grace from being like one of the powerhouses of the Reach to one of the more minor houses in the Reach. The 26th, we'll talk about a theory on the idea of, is Syrio actually Jaqen? And then the 28th, we'll talk about, very similar to the House Peak video, but it'll be almost kind of the opposite. How did House Frey rise to power? In terms of, House Frey is a relatively new house, and they've risen to be the second most powerful house in the Riverlands, behind only the Tullys. And then on the 30th, we'll talk about Clegane Bull. I have some thoughts about Clegane Bull, about should we get it, should we not get it, why some people like it, why some people hate it, and it'll be kind of centered around that. It's also going to be a very good transitional video, because the first video of the 25 Days of Winds of Winter will be on Robert Strong, aka The Mountain. So it'll be kind of a nice transition as we get into December. So for you guys that are new on the channel, December will basically be completely on a Winds of Winter event I do every single year, which is a daily upload. We'll be doing a prediction on some minor characters that I've already kind of revealed, I believe in last month's stream in October. And I think the beginning of October or either the end of September, I revealed what all the characters were. But yeah, so that is the content planned in terms of videos. And then we'll also have I don't know if it's going to be a live stream or a video. I cannot remember for the life of me. But we're going to be discussing Season 8 with Ricky and another YouTuber. I won't reveal that yet, since it's Ricky's show. Well, it's our show, but it's on Ricky's channel, so I'll wait for him to kind of reveal that. But yeah, so we'll be talking about Season 8, about, is it as bad as we make it out to be? Is there some redeeming things about it? So yeah, I think it's I don't know if it's an interesting topic. I don't know. I haven't really watched Season 8 in a few years, but we'll see. We're going to be talking about Season 8 a little bit, and we'll look at it. Are you revealing all the 25 names for Winds December, or is it all a surprise? So I've already kind of revealed it, but I'll go through it really quick. But right now, this is subject to change in terms of the order of these, but right now, the ones that we have for 25 Days of Winds of Winter will be The Mountain, The Great John Umber, Mira, Bo and Marsh, and kind of some of the Betrayers as well, not just Bo and Marsh, kind of that whole plot. Justin Massey, Hostine Frey, Black Walder Frey, Edric Storm, Lancel Lannister, Tyene, Nymeria, the Sand Snake, not the Direwolf, Hizdar, Brown Ben Plum, Strong Belwis, Resnack, the Tattered Prince, Garland, Tyrell, Paxter Redwine, Orain Waters, David Lannister, Jenna Lannister, Lothar Brune, Harris Swift, Harry the Heir, and then Leighton Hightower. So that is kind of the loadout. As you can tell, a lot more minor characters. When you've done this for going on 4 years, once you've hit like those top like 50-ish characters, and a lot of those videos also had multiple. So I remember, I think it was either year 1 or year 2, I did both Marjorie and Olenna. So it's not just 50 characters, it's more like 60, 70 of the most like known characters. So you're kind of running on fumes at this point. But yeah, season 8, we'll talk about it. It was not something I thought we were going to talk about in the next show with Ricky, to be honest. I thought we were probably going to be doing something along the lines of the POV characters, because we've been kind of hinting at that since the summer, but that might be either December or maybe next year, but we'll talk about it. I'll rewatch season 8, and I'm ready to be hurt again. It's like reminding yourself why you're mad at an ex so you don't start talking to her again. Yeah, that's fair, Maz. Like, it's weird because I don't even have like clips for season 8. So for all 7 seasons of the show, I have like clips from every single scene, basically just ready for B-roll. That's why you guys never see anything from season 8, because I don't actually have any of that clipped. So, because I actually don't own season 8. It's the only season I don't own. I own season 1 through season 7, don't own season 8. So I still gotta do that. So I haven't even rewatched it in terms of clipping. So yeah, I still got to rewatch season 2 of House of the Dragon for season 3 of House of the Dragon, of course. And I also want to get it for B-roll, especially for doing House of the Dragon, not themed videos, but like Fire and Blood comparison to House of the Dragon. And I pushed off a couple of videos till next year until I can get that done. I still want to do Aemond and Kristen Cole specifically, but I want to realistically have more B-roll before I do those, so they're not as podcasty, but we'll see. I think the coolest ones to delve into would be Brown, Ben Plum, Justin Massey, or the John Betrayers. Yeah, I haven't really talked about the John Betrayers much, so that'll be a good one. Brown, Ben Plum, I just like his character overall. I haven't really predicted his character recently. I think the last video I made on Brown, Ben Plum was talking about if he's a Targaryen. And then Justin Massey, I'll be honest, Justin Massey is one of the ones I'm not as excited for, because I talked about him as like in his own standalone video, relatively like not very long ago. I think I talked about him in the summer maybe, but yeah, I do want to do the character for the event just to kind of complete kind of him as in the series. But yeah, JC, if you would like to be, I don't know, you might have sent me a message. I don't know, I haven't checked yet. But if you'd like to do those, JC, feel free to write those down in the Discord. But yeah, hopefully we'll have some of the usuals for the event. Possibly JC, possibly Becky, possibly Ricky. We'll see. They haven't gotten back to me on that yet, because I literally just sent out the Discord message before the stream. But we'll see. Should be a good time for that. But yeah, that's kind of the stuff I wanted to get through in the stream. If you guys have any other questions, anything else you'd like to ask me, or anything crazy you want to talk about, I will also say this. For the reread community, the guys that like the reread, it's going to be a long one. I thought I was going to get it done yesterday in terms of recording it. I got about 40 minutes through, which is usually about the normal reread episode, and I was not even halfway done. So, didn't get that done before watching football on Monday. Then today, I had to like, I usually I record the reread and then edit it all on Tuesday. And the recording process took 50 minutes. So the Davos 3 chapter for the reread is going to be probably an hour 20, hour 30. So enjoy that. That's going to be a long video. I can't believe I was even trying to do the idea of doing the entire Battle of Blackwater in one video. I was thinking about basically combining Davos 3, Tyrion 13, 14, and then what are we on? Sansa 6 and 7, I believe. That would be the whole Battle of Blackwater. That'd be a 5 to 6 hour video. It was not happening. Have you seen the Reddit post about the updated Asha fragment with new text revealed? I have not. So when did this come out, JC? If you have a link specifically, you can put it in chat. Let me look it up. Asha new fragment. The Winds of Winter. Let's just see what pops up here. I don't see anything that like pops up like when I look this up on Google, but let me see what we got here. Oh boy, 1 hour ago. Okay. The full text of the Kraken's Daughter chapter fragment from the Winds of Winter revealed. Many years ago, a depressive failed novelist with a deleted username attempted to unpack a screen grab from George R. R. Martin's. You know what? Honestly, can I just... Here's what we might do. Let me just pop this out here, and then let me switch. Is this gonna... Okay. And then let me switch the background to being this. And then let me change this. Hold on, guys. Let me make this to where you guys can read this better. Okay. So this is what we got. This is what JC put in the chat. So let's go through this a little bit. Here's what we unpacked. Daughter of the Lord Speaker of Pike. Asha thought as she took at the land. Okay, so we've got something about House Frey. So this would maybe be Hostine Frey, who is the leader of the Frey army at this point. So might be okay. So this might be Moore's Crowfood Umber. Oh, okay. Asha kind of spoiled it. I was kind of reading. Okay, so just in terms of this, really all we're getting confirmed is Crowfood Umber died, and we're possibly getting the confrontation with Hostine Frey. What else do we got? So full text. Okay, so they have the full text now. Okay. Okay. They rushed out the wind and lightning. The first line spear as it struck the shield of Sir Clayton Suggs. The second struck his helm and sent him reeling from his saddle. Therefore, the gap behind his arm punched through mail and flesh. Okay, so this basically came from what, AI? Trying to figure this out. So I don't know if this really tells us all that much outside of the fact that we're getting a confrontation possibly with the antagonistic force with against Stannis. I don't know. Is there not much to? I don't know if there's that much to really say here. Isn't Asha held captive by Stannis at this point? It's been a while since I read. Yes, so she's right now being held captive. In the Winds of Winter prologue, or not prologue, the Winds of Winter sample chapter we get with Theon. We see a bit about that, and so this is a little bit of trying to dissect more. This is apparently from a page when George R. R. Martin was on, was it John Oliver show? I think is that what it says? Yeah, from 2014, and this was like basically like a screenshot that people were trying to decipher, and this is what apparently we initially had. And then this is what AI kind of filled out. So take this with a grain of salt. AI can be very helpful. It can be not very helpful. It can have not great information either. So I don't know how much I'd put into this, but I think it's interesting. I don't think it reveals all that much that you couldn't have dissected from before, but I think it's interesting. So let me go back to the face cam. All right. What do you guys have to say on here? Oh, so my costume is the comic version of the Penguin, Matthew. I don't have the monocle on. Like I have a single monocle, but it's really low. It's like really cheap and it's too big. It doesn't fit my eye that well. So, you know. She was at the end of the Theon chapter. She's probably sent to the Battle of Ice to hold off the forces because she's expendable and could be sacrificed on the frozen lake. Yeah, I could definitely see that, Maz. But yeah, I am the Penguin. I didn't go for anything crazy this year. I'm not sure what I'm going to be next year. I might either go as my D&D character or something else. I'm not sure yet. I always want to do more Song of Ice and Fire like costumes, but the problem is like I don't know who I'd want to be. Like the characters I'd want to be just are not easily done. Like I'd love to be like a Targaryen. I'd love to be like Maegor or be Daemon or Rhaegar or whoever. But like, look at me. I have black eyebrows. I have black hair. I have black facial hair. I look the complete opposite of a Targaryen. Like I would be literally like, okay, Jace pops out, and you're like, oh, why does he look like this? Oh, because he's not a Targaryen, really. But yeah, you got to be just Jacaerys. Yeah, I was thinking about that, Violet, but I don't know. I could. That's not a bad one. Just okay. So this is something I don't remember. Violet, does Jace in the books have brown or blackish hair? I don't remember because the show they go with like a brown, like a kind of a darker brown hair. Does he? Let's look that up right now. Let's look that up. In Fire and Blood, what is his appearance? I don't remember. Um, appearance. So yeah, he had the brown hair and eyes. So I mean, I could pull it off. I could definitely pull it off because I have the brown eyes. Yeah, I mean, I could do Jace. Jace is one of the more acceptable ones. I could definitely do Jace. I could theoretically do John, but I've kind of already done Rob, and people thought I was John for Halloween, so it's like I don't want to do that again. I could be like a Dothraki person maybe because they have like darker hair and stuff. You know, if you want to stand out, do Patch Face. As somebody that was fully face painted for uh, Halloween ones with Darth Maul, not a fan. Don't want to do that again. But that would be a good one. I will say this: in a couple of years, I could do Stannis very easily because I am already like I'm already like losing like hair, kind of where Stannis has lost his hair too. A couple of years, I could do Stannis like really well. That's all I'll say. If you're Jace, Millie Alcock would be your mother. It's true. It's true. And Millie, I mean, she is the queen. She is the queen. That's all I gotta say. I could do theoretically. I could do Edric. I could do Edric Storm or Gendry maybe. I could do Gendry. Matthew, that is wild. So Big Mo, I was on finasteride and minoxidil for a while, and it just didn't help me really. Um, it just didn't help me very much. And my problem is I have a very dry scalp as well, so if I was gonna do it again, I couldn't use like the stuff that you actually put on your hair because it makes my hair worse. Like it makes it to where it's even more dried out, and I have like more dandruff that way. So if you guys have ever, if you, I don't think you guys have ever seen my dad, but I don't know actually, maybe on my Instagram. But he also has like lost all of his hair, so it's gonna happen, guys. There's no reason of like fighting it. It's gonna happen. I could do, yeah, kind of sus. I think you could honestly pull off Jon Snow if you let your hair grow out. The problem is like my hair, so like some people their hair grow down, like it'll grow long. Like a lot of characters in the Song of Ice and Fire, um, they have long hair. So for instance, like Game of Thrones really did away with that. Like Rob has longer hair, John has long hair. A lot of the characters have longer hair. My hair doesn't really like grow like that. Like my hair will grow out and it'll grow up. It doesn't grow down. Like it doesn't grow like that. So I don't think I could do that. Be a hobbit? Well, see, my D&D character is a halfling, so you know. Big Mo, you're actually dead on. I'm around 5'9". If I was being accurate, I'd probably say I'm like maybe 5'8" and like 3/4, but I say 5'9". But I'm not the tallest. I didn't get my dad's genes. My dad is well over 6 foot, and I'm 5'9". I got my mom's genes on that part of it, unfortunately. But yeah. But yeah, in terms of like dressing up as Song of Ice and Fire characters, the problem is there's not a lot of characters that have dark hair, like black hair. A lot of the characters have lighter hair or stuff like that. Um, so I'd have to do a wig, but that's a whole different problem. If I was dressing up as a Targaryen, I'd have to like get a wig. I'd have to get my eyebrows like white. I have to have no facial hair. I could do so. Okay, a more, especially with A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms coming out, a really good one would be Baelor, because Baelor has the Dornish looks. So I could do Baelor. Baelor might be one we think about. Paint your face like a dragon. Matthew, all I gotta say is no, no. Also, I'd like to throw out an RIP as your team in fantasy continues to get injured. CJ Stroud, he only has a concussion, so hopefully he'll come back soon. But it's no good. Would Dakota play 4-year-old Walder Frey? Yep. Yes, he would. Yes, he would. He could pull it off. But yeah. But yeah, guys, thank you. I think that's gonna be the stream. I just wanted to do a small one. My voice is about shot from the reread, and I also have to still record more stuff. So this was kind of like a nice break. And then I also have to edit, which is probably gonna take me 2 hours today. So wanted just a short little stream for you guys, all of that. And thank you guys for joining. Actually, I'm going to answer this question. I saw this pop up right before I left. What are your thoughts on the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms trailer? Personally, I was disappointed by how drab and colorless it looked. Really? That's really surprising to me, because I really liked the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms trailer. If you want to hear my fuller thoughts, I did a stream back with JC a little bit. I also did a members only stream, but I actually really liked it. But the idea that it was colorless, I thought was really crazy. Because in terms of like House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones, it looked a lot more colorful. So I personally liked it a lot. But yeah, Matthew, just hang in there. You never know what could happen with the football team. Also, yeah, so I'm going to be doing those every week, but they won't be like how they were the first two. The first two were just like my last week's videos, right? They're going to be, for those now, they're going to be much more like, okay, let's do a podcast where it's a culmination of some of my Aegon videos. So I think that's what week 3 is going to be. Like, I'll probably combine the Aegon Dornish letter video, Aegon in his parentage style, and maybe I'll do like either my video or stream on Aegon's Conquest. That's probably what episode 3 will be. So yeah, if you guys do want to see that, I am kind of like putting some of my content together for episodes on the reread channel, just because I'm preparing for December. Won't have any of the rereads. So yeah, but thank you guys. Now this is the actual end. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Nice little update, and I'll see you guys all in the next stream. Bye, guys.